How we're going to work through exercise 17-5. X company identified the following activities, costs, and activity drivers for this year. The company manufactures two types of go-karts, deluxe and basic. So as you can see, we have our different activities. The cost, so that's the overhead amount of doing those activities, and the expected activity, which is the number of times we plan to do the activity and how it's going to be measured. Like, for example, handling materials is going to be based on parts, inspecting the product is going to be based on batches, processing purchase orders is going to be based on the number of orders, etc. Then we're given the following information for the two products, for deluxe and basic. So we're given the different activities and how many times that activity is performed for each product. So you can see deluxe model, the number of units or the number of batches, etc., and for the basic. So we're going to be calculating the amount of overhead to be traced or allocated to each product. So first we need to calculate the activity rate. That's the cost of doing that activity one time. So we use this information up here. We're going to take the expected costs. So for example, handling materials, $625,000, divided by the number of times that activity is going to be performed. For this example, it's $100,000. So if we take $625,000 divided by 100,000 parts, we're going to get $625 per part. If we do inspecting material, $900,000 divided by 1,500 batches, we're going to get $600 per batch. Processing orders, $105,000 divided by 700 orders, we're going to get $150 per order. So if we do that for the rest of the activities, again, these are the activity rates, the cost of doing that activity one time. We're going to do that for both the deluxe and the basic. The activity rates are the same per item. Now we're going to take the number of times that activity is performed for each product. So for the cost driver quantity incurred for parts, for deluxe it's 20,000 parts. So we're going to take the activity rate, the cost of doing that activity one time, times the number of times it's performed, or the number of parts for this example, gives us the amount of overhead dollars to be allocated. For inspecting product, we have $600 per batch. We have 250 batches. So that's going to give us $150,000. For processing orders, we have $150 per order. We have 50 orders. So that's going to be $7,500. We're going to do the same thing for invoices. 50 for the square feet and for the model. As you can see, 50, 10,000, and 1. When we multiply them out, we're going to get the amount of overhead for each activity. We're going to do the same thing for the basic model, the number of times that activity is performed. Again, we're getting that here from the basic model. We already have the activity rates, so we're going to get the amount of overhead. Then we're going to add the amount of overhead for each model. And then we're going to divide by the production volume. 10,000 units and 30,000 units. And we're going to get an average overhead cost per unit. So it's $41.25 for the deluxe and $11.47 per unit for the basic. And if we think about and look at the different amounts, we can see that the deluxe We had less volume, but it tended to have more of the activities, even though it had less volume in total. The basic model had more volume and less activity, so it makes sense that the overall overhead cost for the basic would be less than the deluxe. And that's the end of this problem.